Have you ever dreamt of yourself going back to high school, primary school, or a part of your life that was in the past? What did you do when you woke up? How did you interpret the dream? Let's talk about it. My name is Yvonne Muteria, aka Yve Azar. I have been doing a lot of writing on this online space. First a blog, then recently carousels, and I was hoping to go on with that, but looks like the prayer warriors have decided. Yeah, I bought this microphone 3 years ago, and every time I pick it up to record anything, I'm reminded of a question a man of God was once asked. Let me read it. With the hundreds of thousands of voices out here, what was missing in the conversation that you found it necessary to add your voice in it? Truth is, I don't think anything is missing, so I don't even know who I am recording this video for. But I'm sure of one person in that audience, my future self. And if when heaven smiles at me in that area of my life, my children and my grandchildren. Back to the question I began with, dreams. I am not a frequent dreamer and I love it like that. So please do not pray for me. Number one, dreaming most times leads to lower quality of sleep. Number two, it makes your morning routine longer. You wake up, you first have to think, okay, what did I dream? Then you have to write it down. Then you have to think about the interpretation. I don't like saying luckily, but yeah, blessed for me, I know how to interpret my own dreams, and many times I've even helped other people interpret theirs. Except this one dream, going back to high school. I began having that dream around 2018, 2019. And this first dream, it was one particular space in school. And there was someone in that dream whom I didn't even go to the same high school with. And that dream, it's never repeated itself. The other times I've dreamt going back to high school, it's not to that space, it's to the other spaces in school. And at that time, I interpreted that dream to mean, go back, start evangelizing, maybe find someone, hold their hand, help them walk through high school. Until one day I had a man of God interpret that kind of dream to mean a backward spirit. And recently, the spirit of delay. Wow, I was shocked. I remember going back to God, and out of caution, I was like, let us bind this spirit that is trying. And I went ahead, I prayed against it. I probably did give a seed towards it. And I didn't experience that type of dream again until 2021. And this time, I had them so frequently as if I was trying to be warned of something. And I did the same thing, prayed, rebuked, gave. Let me tell you a little bit about 2021. That year, I had just gotten my job, and I had also my notebook business running, and both were doing well. I managed to save a good amount of money, and by December, I was just a few thousands away from purchasing this thing that I had really wanted. Unfortunately, January that year, I fell ill, spent lots of money in hospital, got into debt, spent that savings that I had kept. And since that time, I have just been going through such similar circles. Save, something comes up, use it in that. And I've never really gotten to buy that thing I wanted. But up until October, November, December last year, I began to sense something, let me call it a wave, and I jumped on it. And for the first time, I moved a few steps forward. I ticked off something from the list of things I've always wanted, and I thought maybe I should give forward movement a try. And just like everybody else, wrote my goals, started having a positive outlook towards 2025. But come January, tragedy hit, or should I say, backwardness. I thank God this time I am not in debt, except help. And I am also not confused. I have been able to pick up the pieces. I still believe God is able to do something for me, but I am not as confident as I'd like. I am hesitant to even say welcome to my YouTube channel because, somebody could be listening. I thank God though that I now have a rough idea of what decisions I made that may have led to this negative side of that dream to begin manifesting in my life. And as I slowly wait to come out of those things while being respectful to the people who are involved, I am reminded of the words of Job, the man who experienced the most backwardness of backwardness. Shall we indeed accept only good from God and not also accept adversity and disaster? Job chapter 2 verse 10. Unlike Job, I don't believe God brings disaster. I don't think he needs to use the devil's tools for him to teach me a lesson. Actually, I think that sometimes I am the one who takes a different route that ends up leading me through the valley of the shadow of death. And because of his loyalty, he says, even there I am with you. My rod and my staff shall comfort you. So you don't have to fear, Yvonne. And later he takes all these things about my life, both the good and the bad, and he makes them work for my good because he's intentional, never failing. I am also reminded of a proverb that says every cloud has a silver lining. I'm so grateful that it never said the color of the cloud. Is it the white cloud, gray cloud, or a black cloud? So with those two lessons, I intend to fight this so-called pull spirit of backwardness differently this year, 2025. I'll stop all the binding, losing, proclaiming, declaring, slaughtering, and all that, because fight hasn't worked. And pause and listen and do this thing that Paul quickly says in Philippians chapter 4 verse 6 or 7. Let your gentleness be known to all. I'm gonna listen and see what this thing is trying to say. Maybe I'll find that it's not even a case of backward versus front. Maybe it's an issue of right versus left. Or maybe I'll find that it's the backwardness that we experience when pulling an arrow to shoot it. It first has to go really back for it to go really front. Forgive my English. Maybe I'll find it's just my inner child screaming, my sweet 16, trying to remind me of a promise I gave and I look like I've walked away from. And maybe then I can hold her hand and ask her to trust me as I lead her and show her that forward is not as scary after all, especially when we do it together. With that, see you in part 2, part 3, and hopefully the many parts of this 2025. I am the kind of person who prefers to hear the living voice of God throughout the day. And because having dreams daily would actually be an inconvenience to me, it would make my morning routine longer. Wake up, then figure out what did I dream, then write it, then start looking for